Delighted this morning to be joined by Adam and Baz from Massive Wagons. How are you doing?
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, all good. Yeah, good. Can't complain. Yeah, it's nice weather here today for a nice change. So we're making the most of it. Sat inside.
Yeah.
I know here you've been pretty busy recently. Cruises, European tours, lots going on. Tell us a little bit about what you've been up to.
Yeah, well, we had a great opportunity to go and play a festival in America. Technically, uh, sort of departs from America, but it's technically actually in international waters, isn't it? Really, or the Bahamas. And so yeah, that's the Monsters of Rock cruise, and it's a thing that's been going for about how long now? 10 years, is
Something
it?
like that. 10 years, I think. Yeah.
And the majority of the people that go to this are American, so we kind of count it as an American event. But it was our first sort of foray into American territory, and it was a fantastic experience. Not really. I think the bands that have played it before, they don't really call it a gig; they call it a playcation, which makes sense really because you're on a luxury cruise liner for a week, and you do
Mm.
some shows in between, the sipping of cocktails and
It
whatnot.
wasn't
So
difficult, is what
it
you're trying
wasn't
to say.
difficult.
No.
It was, but it was great. The feedback from that was fantastic from Americans because you don't always know how you're going to react to different cultures. We're quite British sounding, if that makes
Mm.
sense, and it might not be to everyone's taste, but I think they love it actually. I think they love all that.
And it's difficult and expensive for a band nowadays, anyway, with what's going on in the world, to get anywhere near America. You sort of class it as another universe. So to be able to go and play for Americans, you sort of any opportunity is great, because of visas and whatnot, and you just and merch, all that stuff, travel around America. It's just a colossal bill, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. And then we did a few weeks in Europe, our own headline tour, which we've not done many of. We've done a few support tours, but it's always different when you go out as the headliner. You could kind of dictate the show. I'd play for a while and all that, and it was really good. Played some new places like in Hungary and
Mm.
uh, headlined like Vienna for the first time and Prague, and it was great. It's crazy, like to be in these cities and to just see all these people turn up to watch you play. When you've never been there before. It's especially,
It's nice, isn't it?
yeah, nice feeling. Yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, lots going on then, but yeah, really exciting. And as well as all of that going on, the reason why we're chatting today is because we're really delighted to announce that you guys are coming on board as ambassadors of Metal for Good. So, firstly, huge thank you. But I think it'd be really good to share a little bit about how you heard about us, because there's a very kind of specific way that you've got involved, and it'd be great to hear a little bit more about yeah, kind of how you've been introduced to the charity.
Yeah, well, I suppose the long story is we released a single a few years ago. Am I allowed to swear or not
You are
swear?
allowed to swear. I think most of our audiences are grown up enough
We,
to.
we wrote a song called "Fuck the Haters"
Yeah,
for the album Triggered,
yeah.
and it was not in no way intended to be a single at the time. And then Digby at Earache said it should be the lead single. We thought he was crazy. It's like you can't have a lead single called "Fuck the Haters." What were you thinking? And anyway, we went with it and we put a whole campaign together about. We delved into what the song was about. Really, I mean, it wasn't meant to be a deep thing or a deep campaign, but we put together a campaign around about anti-bullying, really, which is essentially what it's about people being victimized and people being able. I know it's been tread the path has been tread 1,000 times, but people should be allowed to be who they are and do what they do and look how they look and act how they act. If they're not hurting anyone, that is leave people alone, basically. Stop targeting people, and it went down really well, and we ended up off the back of that. Me and Adam ended up doing some school visits into primary schools. We put together like a talk. We've started visiting 4 or 5 local schools and talking about bullying and
Yeah.
talking to kids about it because we thought that's the place to target it, really, isn't it? Kids in primary schools that we're blown away out just how sharp and how much they knew and how responsive they were to it. It really was amazing. We were a bit worried, obviously. Talking to kids is quite daunting, but they were well into it, weren't they? And they knew all the answers, and
Yeah.
they were well up on it. Like it was brilliant.
We've done it a few times now, and the first time we were quite nervous
Yeah.
to do this because obviously it's completely out of the comfort zone. You know, you're talking to key stage two, I think, so that's 8 to 11 year olds.
Yeah.
But that's that, like Baz said, that's the sort of I think the key age really where
Mm.
you know people are starting to find themselves. You know, kids are starting to identify with this or that and like this or that, and
And they're just starting to maybe experience a bit of bullying or
yeah,
see it or be a target of it or whatever.
yeah, and we kind of the first time we did it, it was we planned it and but we learnt a lot, and then the next time we came back, we realised what worked really well,
Mm.
and the last time we did it, I don't know, it seemed I quite enjoyed it
Yeah,
actually, you
yeah.
know,
We
it
just
was
you just we just targeted it. Like you said, you talk to the kids about you learn what engages the children,
yeah,
and mentioning things that gets them interested and answering questions and responding and stuff. And
video games basically.
Yeah.
you talk about video games and Harry
I mean, I've
Potter.
got a 7-year-old, so my
Oh,
son's
you know that.
almost at that age, and yeah, that like you said, that self-awareness, but also awareness of what other people think is
Yeah.
really, really relevant at that age, and they really start to kind of notice those things, don't they? But yeah, video games, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
That gets them right. We lead with that, and then hang on a
A bit of
minute.
Minecraft lingo, and you're fine. Yeah.
Yeah, they mentioned
Exactly.
Roblox, right? Well, hang on a minute. Let's pay attention to this. And
These guys are cool.
yeah,
No, they
well,
never know
we
that.
won't go that far, but
Cooler than we thought, anyway.
But yeah, off the back of that, sorry, yeah, we discovered Metal for Good. Terry, our manager, who's up on everything, she's super sharp on the internet, and they came across the thing you ran for the extra funding for more. We were in
yeah,
the vault, weren't we, with some of their amazing campaigns, things people have been doing in the music scene to do with using metal for good, and we just blown, yeah, we just think it's an amazing thing you do. You know, he just speaks volumes. It looks amazing, and it's well put together. And you just think we just thought, this could be something we'd love to be involved with. It's kind of like felt like a bit of a natural step to work with more people that know what they're doing. If you know what I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but thank you. Yeah. And yeah, in terms of the funding that we awarded you, it was kind of the end of last year. Your project came through as something that really spoke to us, going out there and using music to, our themes are supporting mental health, supporting young people to thrive, and then addressing inequalities. And almost the kind of Forget the Haters project kind of ticks all those boxes. You're going out there and using music for good, but you're really helping to, address at a really early age some of those issues that children do naturally experience, but particularly those that perhaps have got other stuff going on in their lives as well, and perhaps just giving them some more coping mechanisms or tools to be able to deal with that is, it
No,
really spoke to us.
kids need to know that kids need to know that people understand them and they're particularly that adults understand them and stuff and can relate to what they may be going through if they feel like they're on their own. And at that age, like you said, they're developing, aren't they? And
yeah,
it's just a great time to sort of reassure them and give them help. And like me and Adam made some videos when the song came out about being bullied at school. I was bullied brutally at school, and Adam was more in secondary school. I was at primary school, really. So we completely understand the project, and to be honest, schools are amazing now. I've got an 8-year-old, and Adam's got 3 children, all at primary school, and they're totally different places to when we were at school. Totally teach. And my teachers at school were terrible. They were the last of the old guard, the teachers that could whack kids if they were, if they did something wrong. Suddenly they weren't allowed to do that anymore. So there was no understanding from those teachers. But the teachers now are all in their 20s and 30s, and they're so understanding and loving and nice, and
Yeah.
it really is a great place. My little girl's school's like that anyway. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's certainly my experience too. The comparison from when I was at school to where, my son now in school, it is very different. So what's the plans next with the Forget the Haters project and the kind of schools that you're visiting? So where are you going? What are you doing?
well, I think we would like to cast a bit of a wider net, really. We've kept it very local, just because when you're going into schools and it's been done via a collaboration with the Lancaster Music Festival as well. So obviously everything was around Lancaster. However, now we have the kind of thanks to the funding, a bit more freedom, and also with the association with you guys, it's a lot more of an official thing to
Yeah.
present to schools, rather than just two, you know, two
Two scruffy
two
blokes.
scruffy guys like turning up and wanting to talk about stuff. So basically more
Mhm.
and wider. That's we've got the act, I guess, down pretty good, and we'd like to just take it and book a nice tour, I guess, of
Yep.
I mean, we were doing kind of a couple of days, weren't we? But maybe we could do like a week or so, or a couple
yeah.
of weeks traveling around the northwest or wherever. We've certainly had people interest. It's amazing because even off the back of doing just 4 or 5 local schools, obviously because we have the Massive Wagons platform and we talk about it, we've had inboxes from teachers all around the country, really places we probably can't make. Can you come down to flipping Cornwall and
Yeah,
speak to my kids? And can you
yeah,
come to Lincoln and speak to my kids? And it's like, I don't know. I'd love to do that. That'd be
Yeah.
great. But it's nice. It's really lovely that people, see it and think it's something worthwhile.
And
yeah.
am I right in thinking that the kids that take part in it, they get to experience kind of like the gig environment, and you've got like merch and things going on. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
quite sure.
That's an interesting thing. I mean, I'm sure. Don't mention merch to our manager because she will have us flogging merch at the schools. But no, well, actually, yeah, that's another good point. Currently, we've just sort of done the seminar, whatever, and
Yeah.
then at the end we play a few songs and we hand out percussion to kids and stickers and all that, and they get along. They join in with the music, but maybe we make I think I was sort of thinking maybe we make the music a little bit more integral to what we do.
Mm.
Um, which again now thanks to the funding might be more of a viable option. Might be able to take a little PA, and all that kind of stuff, just to make the whole thing a bit more engaging and a bit better. The flow, because the attention span of anyone really, but especially 8, 9 year olds isn't massive. So, we kind of find 45 minutes is that's optimum time uh,
Yeah.
for everyone involved. And then maybe we can make a little bit more of that time around about music somehow. So yeah, I think that's what we'll
They
do.
go they go from being intensely judgmental to being
Yeah,
absolutely not interested in the space of
yeah.
about 20
I'm
minutes.
familiar. Yeah.
Nothing in
Fantastic.
between.
Sorry,
But
did
yeah.
I cut you off there?
Oh no, sorry. I was just saying there's nothing in between those two emotions,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But
Yeah.
they are very sharp. It's amazing how much they know when you speak to them, ask them questions. They're all like this. They all want to
Oh
answer the
yeah, yeah,
questions, and they all know the answers. We don't make anything complicated. It's simple stuff. Who do you speak to? Who can you talk to? What should you do in this situation? What should you do if you see this? What should you do if it's happening to you? And really, they all know. We know they all know, and it is amazing to see, really. And I suppose that's a testament to the school teachers and a lot of the kids' parents and stuff, and the good nature of the children and
yeah.
and proof that maybe it doesn't go on as much as it did when we were kids, which is lovely to hear.
We do get a lot of good feedback from the teachers as well afterwards. Normally, that like they all come up and say how proud they were of the children who they already knew all this, and like Baz said, that's a testament to what's already kind of going on in schools. But it's just a different way of presenting it from a different source, and it's fun. It's just a fun thing that I think everyone enjoys.
I've got to be honest, from a bit of a selfish point of view, it is really satisfying as well when the kind of 40 minutes is gone and you walk out of there and all your limbs are intact and like your sanity's still there and you walk away and you think, yeah, they really, the teachers go, that was brilliant. You think, oh, nice one. It really does feels like you've achieved something small.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we were chatting just before this about giving back, and this is a really fantastic way for you to use that platform to give back and to, it's about the bullying issue, but potentially as well inspiring those children, young people to think about taking up music and getting involved and perhaps progressing with those guitar lessons or whatever they're doing. So who knows what the future might hold for those children that have been involved. It's really exciting.
We did my little girl's school on the last one. So every time I drop off at school, if I see any of those kids, they call me Mr. Singer Man. Oh, there's the singer man. Sing us a song, will you? I'm walking across the schoolyard with my little girl, you know. Oh, yeah, yeah.
And what
Okay.
and was your daughter in the session, or was she not
No,
quite
she wasn't actually.
the
No, no, she wasn't. No, I don't know why she wasn't. Maybe
Different age.
different
different
age.
age?
Wasn't it?
I don't know why she wasn't in it, to be honest. But
Was she proud or embarrassed that you were coming into? I mean, knowing what my son's like, I'm not sure which way it would go, knowing that you were coming into her school.
probably extremely embarrassed, really. Yeah,
Sure.
probably place she wasn't there.
Well, thank you that, we're really excited to be supporting the project, and we're, particularly excited to see where it goes next and how this, kind of next phase of schools and kind of getting your message out there and working with those children goes. So, absolutely keep us posted. We In terms of coming on as an ambassador, firstly, we're incredibly excited to have you. We have admired kind of how much for a long time you use your platform for good and you support some other incredible charities and causes. So, we're really excited to have you on board as an ambassador. One of the things we like to talk to our ambassadors about is their like origin story in terms of rock and metal. Kind of how, what's your earliest memory of kind of heavy music, of rock? How did you get into it? And ultimately kind of what it means to you, because as I'm sure you're aware, Metal for Good is kind of built on these values of the metal community being generally a really great bunch of people who do actually care about others. But yeah, so where did it start for you guys?
What personally, all the way back?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, the band. You mean personally as a
well,
kid?
personally, yeah, how did you get into heavy music?
Well, myself, I suppose, like a lot of kids, your parents, really. That's where a lot of stuff comes from, isn't it? What's going on in the house at home, really. And my dad was always was a big 70s rock fan, Deep Purple and all that kind of stuff. My mum is a massive rock and roll fan, Buddy Holly and Elvis. I remember as a kid, she gave me it sounds corny, gave me a load of old Elvis records and stuff, this kind of stuff. And used to make me tapes when I got a Walkman for Christmas one year and made me a load of compilation tapes. And my dad's mate made me a load for Christmas, Def Leppard and things like that. And my dad plays guitars, played in bands for as long as I can remember. So guitars and drums and loud music were always part of our family, really, I suppose. And you just develop your own identity, really. And when I got to sort of before the age of 16, I was listening to what my parents were listening to, all the heavy 70s rock and roll. Then I got to 16, found my own very, very much vanished down the flipping Oasis route, the indie kind of stuff. That was my music. At the time, it was massive.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, I stopped being so stupid, and then I sort of started listening, took the Parker off and the Adidas trainers and started listening to it all because
Yeah.
and then I love all of it really. I love all the heavy stuff, Judas Priest, Deep Purple, AC/DC, and the Oasis and indie 90s stuff, just guitar music really. And yeah, that's me really. Yeah.
Amazing. What about you, Adam?
Much the same, to be honest. Parents, massive influence, both my mum and my dad. And then, like you said about the community thing, that becomes very, it's quite prominent in rock and metal. There seems to be a strong bond between people, total strangers, but if you're into the same music, it kind of you always get a nod, from if you're wearing a. I was in when we were in Prague. I had my I had a Wacken, like there's the festival
Yeah.
t-shirt on. Everyone was nodding at me. Everyone was like, "You're giving the t-shirt a nod."
Mad at it.
So it's like that kind of thing, and I like that. And also then that leads to forming a band, which is its own kind of brotherhood. To sort of to be a bit cheesy, but it is a it is a gang kind of thing, and like to sort of tie it back in with the bullying thing, like in high school, it was a thing for me, like it was a big lifeline. My the band I was in and music, it was something that I did kind of retreat to and cling to, and that my small group of mates, that's what we did, and we were happy in our own little kind of world. And then yeah, I think that's it really. I've always been into rock. I've always liked rock music. I didn't have an indie phase, I guess. But
Not that you'll admit to anyway.
well,
I
I
keep
like
trying.
I like it. I'm quite open with my music tastes. I love country music. But massive country fan.
Yeah.
Uh,
You look like a couple of cowboys
we
these
do,
days,
yeah. With
don't
these lumberjack shirts.
Yeah. Love it.
Uh, but no, it's just been a really kind of, I guess for me personally, I'm kind of bog standard. I just like the music. I like the intensity of rock
Yeah.
and metal, and yeah, it's been a great meeting. When I met Baz, sort of in my late teens, and we went on to write the exact kind of music that I was into at the time, and Baz was into, and that's rare that when you can meet people who want to sort of move in the same direction as you. A lot of bands really struggle with that.
Yeah.
But we've always been on the same page when it comes to that. So we're very lucky in that regard.
Apart from that, we hate each other.
Yeah, but in every other way we can't stand each other. But
Yeah. Yeah, and when it's interesting when we talk to people at festivals, we get lots of people coming over to us, and I think the sense that we get is that people really value the community around rock and metal because so often they're felt like outsiders, kind of growing up or in other areas of their lives, and then kind of value this, community of interest they've found that do tend to look out for each other and care about each other, and people feel like they belong. And I think, kind of linked to your both respective experience of bullying, maybe that finding that community of people that get you and that you feel like you belong in, I think keeps you then, passionate about the music and wanting to find out more and do more within the community.
I certainly think being into heavy music when I was a kid. I mean, it was quite an extreme sort of music, and it has quite an extreme fashion sense, and you automatically kind of make yourself an outsider by the way you look, and you're a target then, aren't you, for morons who, and you do stick together, and they sort of shove you in a corner,
Yeah.
and we do all lump together, and you all sort of look after each other a little bit, really. Like Adam said, you walk down the street and you see somebody wearing a certain t-shirt, you go, oh, they're a cool band, that. Somebody you've never even met, but you can guarantee that person's a nice person, and he's going to go, oh, cheers, mate. Nah, yeah, cool. You can have
Hey.
a 5 minute conversation with somebody you've never met and go, have a nice day. You can't do that. You see somebody wearing, you don't get that with between other people on the street, do you, really?
No.
Because people who love rock music wear it on their sleeves, don't they? It's kind of their entire universe, isn't it, really? Everything they do revolves around music, really.
Yeah.
People into rock and metal, I find anyway.
Yeah.
that's just like especially what I liked about the Metal for Good when we first became aware of it and reading about what you do. It is the link between the rock metal world and the community at like the wider community. That's a really a unique kind of take on the whole thing. Some of the values that are shared typically between people that are into rock and metal are just great community values in general, and it's like maybe it can be a little bit misunderstood as well. I think less so these days. Since maybe obviously in the 70s and 80s it was a much more demonized kind of thing, wasn't it? But even now, I think it can still be a little misunderstood. People going to gigs on their own, don't know anybody, and I know loads of people who otherwise wouldn't do this in any other social kind of situation, but they have no problem going to a gig, a rock or metal gig on their own. It's not a consideration at
No.
all, and that's pretty special.
Yeah. Yeah, and we we were really passionate when we set up the charity that we were doing those two things. So yeah, how can we support great music projects that help anybody? You know, that's not necessarily genre specific. It's using that transformative power of music to help people, but also kind of showing the world, I guess, that the rock and metal community, you know, really do have some great values and actually do want to help. And how can we use that power to support other people through music? So yeah, it's great to hear that you've kind of picked up on that, because that's something that we were really passionate about. So what's next for the band? You've got some tour dates in the UK, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, next week we're out again. Only it's like four shows.
Okay.
We're doing Cambridge. Oh, here we go. Leeds, Newcastle, and Cardiff.
Yeah.
And you know, it's basically doing what we've done in Europe, but with the bigger venues in the UK.
Yeah.
Got the bigger light show, and it's going to be really fun, you know. And we're bringing a German band called Airstrike
Okay.
with us that who opened for us in Europe, and this is their first time in the UK. I'm kind of more excited for those guys to
Yeah.
come to the UK. I'm like, look, you can see what Weatherspoons is, you know.
All the
All the culture. Yeah, we'll show them all the culture. And no, so that'll be great. And we've got another fantastic band that have been around a good while now called In Me. They're great support. They're fantastic. So it's just going to be I have a really good feeling. It's going to be, you know, 4 shows on the trot. It's just bang, really, really intense. You know, 4 nights of rock. It's going to be good. And then we're back out in Europe again a few weeks after that, supporting Miles Kennedy around Europe. So
in a van.
Yeah, we're going back to.
Can't wait for that.
Nice.
We'll be begging for that tour bus mattress. I can tell you. So sometimes you just have to do it like that, though. Because we're only the opening band on that tour. Budget wise, you've got to, you know, be prepared to do it old school.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then after that, actually, not too much this summer. Actually, it's a bit, certainly compared to last year, a much quieter summer. The festivals last year were insane. The schedule we had. So yeah, it's a little bit back down, but we'll be writing really. That's the next kind of thing. Writing again for whatever's next.
Brilliant. Exciting. Well, best of luck with those dates and with the van over in Europe supporting Miles Kennedy. Hope you get some sleep, some rest. And sorry,
yeah, we'll get Miles to help us with the gear and all that. We'll get him.
When he's not using his bus, surely you can go and have a little nap. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time today, but also thank you for your support of Metal for Good. And we're really excited to see where this kind of relationship goes and how you can, I guess, amplify what we're doing even more. And yeah, ultimately help even more projects and really exciting to see where your Forget the Haters tour goes as well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the support yourselves. It's great to be part of it.
Brilliant. Thank you.